Hello guys, welcome again to my YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be talking about how to successfully change your career. Age shouldn't be a factor when it comes to changing your career. So it doesn't matter whether you're in your 20s, 30s or 40s. You can still go ahead to have an amazing career. There are many reasons why people change career and each vary from person to person. The decision behind changing career is a personal one that should be done based on your goal, needs and values. Now, I want you to visualize where you want to be in the next 5 to 15 years. I know a lot of motivational speakers say this, but this is real life, trust me. Without a clear goal in mind for where you're going, you're always going to wander aimlessly, switching between jobs or doing jobs that you just don't like, and that can be career suicide in the long run. Before we move on, please remember to like and subscribe. Let's briefly run through why people change career. People change career for better pay, career advancement, passion, job satisfaction, work-life balance, burnout, job loss. Let's talk about how to change your career or how to transition into a new career. I have to be honest with you, it isn't always an easy process, and sometimes it can be daunting. You want to give up. It's always difficult most times when you're transitioning into a new field entirely. If you're moving from one field into a similar career, then it's easier. The first thing you want to do when changing career is to assess your skills and interests. This is the obvious place to start because if you're leaving one job because you don't find it fulfilling or because you want a better pay and you're moving into something that you just won't enjoy, it doesn't really make sense. So the best thing to do is to assess your skills and interests. What do you like doing? What are you good at? If you were to close your eyes and someone asks you, what are you good at? You should be able to come up with something. What you can do is align your new career to that area. I know a lot of people say you should not let passion lead your career, but this is not about passion. This is about assessing your skills and interests. If you have a profitable skill set, then by all means you should explore it. You should consider taking skill assessment or career quiz. This will help you better align your skills with potential careers that you can do in that area. The next step is to research and network. Once you've decided on what you want to do, the next step is to research on that particular career. What courses do you need to take? What experiences do you need to have? Which skills do you need to learn to put you at an advantage in this particular career? You have to make sure you take your time to research. You have to research. The next thing you want to do is network. Talk to people, talk to your peers. If you have mentors, talk to your mentors. Or if you have people that have successfully transitioned from one career to the other, you can talk to them as well. This will give you a better insight from more experienced people and people that have been there, done that. The next thing you want to do is to gain relevant experience. After you must have researched on your new career path and also taken some maybe courses and trainings and the likes, the next thing you want to do is to back that up with experience, with proven experience. You might want to apply for internship or part-time work, just anything for you to gain experience. You can even do your own personal project depending on the career path that you choose. If you want to switch career from a website designer to a UX designer, for example, after you must have learned about UX design and how to use the tools that will make you become a successful UX designer, it is not always possible for you to get a job straight away, even internship. What you might want to do, for example, in this scenario, is to create personal projects for yourself. You have to train. When you do this, at least you have some projects in your portfolio, then you can apply for internships or part-time work. You can even decide to work for free for a company if you have the right connection to do so. The next thing you want to do is to develop a plan. By developing a plan, you at least know what you want to do and how you want to get there. Let's say I want to transition from being a banker to a UX designer, for example. I can let my first step be going on YouTube or Google to gather knowledge on what it takes to be a UX designer. By doing this, I am at least familiarizing myself with the role of a UX designer. So when I decide to start learning, I at least have an idea about what I want to do. You can decide to go for a free course or you could take paid courses. I prefer to take paid courses because of the human interaction behind paid courses. Most times you get to interact with the people teaching you these courses and then you can ask questions. And even some of them go ahead to create communities whereby you can make friends and network and meet people. My next step will be to practice. Practice what I have learned, because if you don't practice what you've learned, you forget and it is at the end of the day not useful. And again, when you practice, you can always use your practice to develop your portfolio. So using UX design as an example again, if I'm transitioning from being a banker to a UX designer, and I know what I need to know about being a UX designer, and I have taken paid courses on the essentials of UX design, for example, I can decide to take a further course on how to use UX design tools like Figma or Adobe XD or even Sketch. Once I'm done with this, the next thing for me to do is to start working on projects to develop my portfolio. It's only with a portfolio that you can gain work experience. No one is going to give you a job if you don't have a degree of knowledge or expertise to show that you at least know what you're doing. Once I've done this, I can decide to start applying for internships or look for a mentor or even look for UX designing groups that you can join. The next step you want to take is to seek support system and guidance. Changing careers is not always easy and it can become extremely overwhelming at a point, especially when you're not getting the results you expected to get. But don't worry, you can work on getting support systems around you. It could be your friends or family members, just someone to lend you a listening ear when you're frustrated, or someone to tell you, calm down, you can do it, just be patient. Support systems play a very important role when it comes to switching careers, just as they do in our everyday life as well. So you should really look into getting one. The last thing you want to do when it comes to switching careers is to be patient. You have to be patient. Patience is a very important factor when it comes to switching careers because it is very easy for you to give up halfway. When you're not getting the results you expect, motivation becomes difficult and you can think about giving up. But Rome wasn't built in a day, and you can't switch careers in a day. You have to give yourself a time frame for you to switch your career. Transitioning from a banker to a UX designer, for example, isn't a 2 months work. You can give yourself a period of 6 months or even a year to successfully transition from being a banker, for example, and becoming a UX designer. Also, being patient helps you cover the basics and ensure that you're fully prepared for the work you have ahead. Transitioning from any profession into UX designer, for example, requires you learning various things. You need to first know the essentials of UX design. You need to know the basics of UX design. You need to know why you do UX design. You need to understand user interfaces and user experience. Also, you also need to understand the tools you can use to make this happen. All this take time and it can be frustrating and boring at some point. But with patience, you will always scale through. Switching career can sometimes be difficult, especially when you're switching to a field that is not similar to what you're doing at the moment. But following these key steps will make it easy for you. Also, don't forget to get that support system. With the right support system, what should be difficult ends up becoming a little bit easier. If you've been thinking about changing your career path, I hope this video finally motivates you to take that step. Please remember to like and subscribe.